Hey, this is my oral portion of my presentation on women's gymnastics and the female triad. I kind of added a little bit. Originally I was just going to do youth nutrition when it came to sports, but when I was doing my research I found something called the female triad with relation to gymnastics, and nutrition had a lot to do with it, so I figured I would kind of broaden the topic a little bit, and it just was very interesting to me, so that's why it's changed a little bit. So women's gymnastics and the female triad. We know that sports can promote a very healthy lifestyle for youth as well as adults, and we see a lot of overall health improvements. A lot of times they get youth that participate in sports get better grades. There's less incidence of depression. I did a paper on exercise and mental health, and we see this with youth also. And then they're less likely to abuse alcohol, drugs, and nicotine, partially because they're probably so busy with sports, but then they are living a healthier lifestyle, so hopefully they won't be tempted by those things. But what is the female triad? It's a negative characteristics that you get from playing sports very, very, very intensely, and then the athletes fail to recognize the stresses that they're putting on their body physically, and it can have extreme consequences. And gymnastics happens to be one of those sports that has a higher incidence for girls that suffer from the female triad due to the intensity and competitive nature of the sport. So the factors of the female triad is disordered eating. They want to lose weight because they think it's going to enhance their performance, but most of the time it does not. So they are very selective eaters and avoid a lot of foods, and then we see other eating disorders that can be included with like anorexia or bulimia. Amenorrhea, a complete cessation of a menstrual cycle, or an irregular menstrual cycle. This has to do with the affecting the estrogen levels of the body, which regulates the cycle. Girls who exercise at an abnormally intense rate and then don't consume enough calories can reduce their estrogen levels, but then in turn affect their menstrual cycles. And then the third factor is osteoporosis. That at an age where girls are supposed to be reaching their peak bone mass and, like their young teen years, we see this where the bones are not forming properly, or they're weakening because they have a loss of density. We usually see this in older adults, and it's particularly dangerous to girls at this age. So again, the low level of estrogen can affect and cause osteoporosis, or improper nutrition or lack of calcium can also. So what are the warning signs of the female triad? There's several symptoms. Abnormal weight loss, difficulty in concentration, abnormal fatigue, irregular cycles or lost menstruation we spoke about, the other eating disorders we spoke about, and also they are more likely to get stress fractures or muscle injuries very easily. We'll talk about eating disorders a little bit. Ball State University did a study that said 72% of female athletes are undernourished, and female gymnasts, in fact, only consume 80% of the calories that all the other female athletes do, so they're particularly at risk. And also part of the study, they found that athletes that consume 1,200 calories actually have a higher body fat ratio than those that consume 1,800. This is because the body will go into starvation mode and start to burn muscle and hold on fat. And this is a vicious cycle because the athletes, especially the gymnasts, want to appear more girlish and not so feminine with curves and less muscular. And also another thing we can bring up too is the female athletes tend to be a lot lower paid than the male athletes. A lot of them will supplement their income with modeling, which also is notorious for wanting girls who are uber thin. So you're going to see a lot more of these eating disorders popping up. And the girls that will suffer, from the female triad will often display one or more of the signs, with the eating disorder. They'll have a preoccupation with food. You would think they wouldn't care about food, but they know every calorie and every size and they really know everything about it. They'll continue to diet even though they've possibly lost weight. They'll use laxatives. They'll make frequent trips to the bathroom, possibly purging their food. They'll have brittle hair and nails. And a lot of times they'll have cavities because repetitive vomiting will cause the teeth to decay. And they'll have other symptoms is they'll be very sensitive to cold. They have a low heart rate and low blood pressure, and more serious, they'll have chest pains or heart arrhythmias. So who's at risk? Girls, again, that compete at these highly intensive sports. that require intense training, or even sports that go by weight classes like, say, rowing or martial arts. Other than gymnastics, we see this happening with ballet, figure skating, and diving too. Pressure from the coaches, the judges, the teammates, and even their partners to lose weight, they think it's going to enhance their performance, and actually it really doesn't, because it compromises their muscle mass completely. So it really does not help performance as well. And then if you have someone that has anxiety disorders and has a lot of stresses from, say, family members or friends, they are going to be at higher risk for this female triad and the eating disorder part of it as well. So why are gymnasts at a particularly high risk? Although the triad can be found in all sports, gymnastics is one of those sports that really kind of, they look at your body and your overall appearance for your score and your performance. So like the other gymnasts like Kathy Johnson and Nadi Comaneci, they've suffered from eating disorders. They said that gymnastics is a sport just built for the female triad. There was a survey done by the NCAA saying that 51% of all gymnastic programs reported that they had athletes with eating disorders, which means the number is actually probably higher. And in 1968, way back when, there's 13-year-old little gymnast called Olga Korbut. She was 85 pounds, and she really changed how the female gymnast kind of looked. The pattern really hasn't gotten all that much better. Shannon Miller, just 20 years ago, was 16 years old and only 79 pounds, and she was the gold medalist. And, like we spoke about, they don't want to appear womanly. They think, breast development and hip development will inhibit their performance. And it's a very subjective sport. It's not like you run a race and if you're the fastest one, you win. It's kind of your appearance may affect the judge's perception and your final score, which is really, puts a lot of extra stress on the athlete. And the coaches hold very high authority in the athlete's lives. A lot of times the athlete lives with the coach, and they control everything, when they get up, when they practice, when they go to school, what they wear, how to count calories, what to say in public, what to do, how to act. So food becomes the one thing that they can control. A 2000 Olympic hopeful, Alice Beckerman, said that she popped pills for an ulcer. She competed with a broken wrist. She starved herself, and she would be in practice, and coaches would poke at her butt and call her cottage cheese butt. But you can, achieve physical fitness and not fall victim to the female triad. What you need to do is, there's a couple of things that you can do. Track your menstrual cycles if there's any changes. Visit a physician. Don't skip meals. If you're on the go, keep granola bars, fruits, nuts, other things like that in your gym bag. And meet with a nutritionist that specializes in female athletes, so you can make sure that you're getting all the nutrition and key nutrients that you need. And when we talk about proper nutrition for gymnasts especially, they need something high in carbs and moderate proteins and low fats. The carbs are going to be your best source of energy to do the work that you need to do and recover, so your intake should match your training requirements. And you want to do a lot of whole grains, fruits, veggies, and legumes. For protein, you want to make sure you get these to manufacture new muscle, to heal, and to maintain the muscle that you have. Look for fish, lean meats, eggs, yogurts, cheese, stuff like that. And when you consume oils, you want to look for healthier versions like avocado, olive oil, and oil that you can find in nuts, so you get what your body needs without the associated health risks. Are there improvements in the sports and with relation to the female triad? They say that they're taking measures to avoid a lot of eating disorders and the female triad. The U.S. Gymnastics Federation set up a hotline that athletes can call if they feel if they're being pressured to lose weight. They have someone to reach out to. The International Day Gymnastique, which governs all international gymnastics, raised the eligibility age to make the team one year higher to kind of promote a more realistic body image. That's what they said. And then also the USA Gymnastics Athletic Wellness Program is set up to promote education for the girls and be resources for them, so they can reach out and have a network of nutritionists, sports psychologists, and other support systems. And that's my presentation. Thank you.